lesson right quick. Watch this.
Rectangle models backwards. Again, so it's just like what we did on the opener. So we're just jumping right into examples. I'm not going to give you a big note sheet where we have to have a lot of extra writing. So what we were talking about during our opener is that we need to look at the information that we do know. So we do know, well, right here we have 2 times something equals something. Well, this 2 represents my what? My height. And they went ahead and wrote that in for us. So that 2 right there, that's our height. What's this second set of numbers supposed to be? So that's the information I need to find, right? So I have my height, I have my width, and then when I put my equal, these 2 terms here represents the area of each section, or the total area of the rectangle. So if you remember, when we label or fill out our area model, it's filled out like this: height, width, width. You don't have to write this all right now. I'm just showing you this. Don't write what I'm writing right now. Which equals our area, right? So now we're just basically taking all this information, the H and the W's and the areas, and we're plugging in those numbers, okay? So, as I said, the 2 represents the height. We don't know the width, but I do know what else do I know that I can write in? The area. So what's the area of this first rectangle?
8C.
8C what? And then what's the area of my second rectangle? 10. Now, do you remember how I said I'm extra picky about the order we write things? We always write our height first, then our width, then our area. This is why. Okay? So, what else do I know about this rectangle now? I know the area. I know the height. So with that information, I can now find the missing link, which is the width. So, I'm going to take my height times something. My height times something, which will get me to my area. So I stop and think. 2 times what will get me to 8?
4.
Okay? Do I have a variable up here with my 2 and my height? No. But do I have one for my total area? So what do I need to add to my width? Okay? So the width of this first section is... The width of this first section is 4C. So I'm going to label that accordingly. Okay? So then I go to my next section of my area model. I know my height is 2. I'm trying to find my width. So 2 times what will get me to 10?
5.
So the width of this next section is 5. So the missing numbers that I plug in represent what? The width. So what's the first width?
4C.
And what's my second width? That's it. Now, what I have on this board right now is everything that I should see on your worksheets, everything that I should see on your quizzes, on your notes, on your tests, etc. So I showed every step of my work 2 times. Okay? So a lot of you guys aren't writing this step in. You need to have that. You need to show me that. Okay? Okay. Let's take a look at example number 2. We're given the same exact information, and so we still need to determine what the width is going to be. Where do I put the 5 that I have? Okay, good, the height, so it goes on the side. What do I put here? What do I put right here? I don't know that, do I? Good. So if I don't know my width, what do these numbers represent? And where do I put that? So I'm going to put equals 15D and equals 35. Okay? So I'm trying to find my height. So I know my height times something will get me my width. My height times something. Okay? So 5 times what gets me to 15? I do not have a variable up here, but I do down here. And I come here. 5 times what gets me to 35? Do I have any variables to worry about?
No.
Nope. Okay. So what things do I need to do yet to make this area model complete?
Put it at top. Put it with
Show that that's my width of each section. And then I need to write my answer in. Would it be okay to write my answer like this?
No, of course not.
No, it's backwards. Always keep them in order. Okay? I do not want to see, yes, I do not want to see you working ahead though. Oh, I'm just reminded. Yeah, like I said, I just made big packets because I didn't know what else to do with my time since you guys are all like ditching me and going to do like PSAT testing. I guess I ditched you guys the day before though, huh?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, this is where it gets fun. Now, this is written differently. Stop and look though. So next example 3, go ahead and write 12x to the second y plus 18x y to the second. Now it's written out a little bit differently than what we did for the first 2 example problems, but you should still kind of be able to tell what these 2 terms up here represent.
Oh, your width, your height, your width.
No, take a look.
Your area?
Yes, because every time we've talked about height or width, what has it always had in the problem?
I don't know.
Those what? Parentheses. Anytime we've talked about height or width, there's been parentheses somewhere in my first initial problem, right?
Yeah.
Do I see any parentheses here? No. So therefore, I know that this is the area. Because I see no parentheses, that means it's not my height and my width. What am I given here, though?
Your height.
I'm given my height. So what are we still trying to find?
Your width.
The width. So I have my areas, I have my heights, I'm still trying to find my width.
So your area is
So my answer, I'm just basically writing backwards. So what's the height? And we're going to multiply that by something, right? To get my widths. So if I take my height times my width, I get the height times my width, I'll get my what? Area. Okay, you guys told me that these 2 terms right here are my areas. So what's the area of my first section? So I'm going to 12x second y. And the area of my second section?
Y to second. I tell you.
Okay. So then I'm going to come up in here and I'm going to put the height times, hold on. So the height times something in both ones. What's that something that I need to know again? Nah, the width, good. So every single time you see an area model, we always do height times width equals our area. Our height is here, our width is here. That's why I'm so picky about where we write things, because the more you do them and the more that you realize what goes where, it's easier to remember what you're supposed to do. Okay, so we need to find my width. So I'm going to think 6 times what gets me to 12? 2. Then I need to worry about my variables. How many do I have in my height? How many do I have in my height? My x, I'm sorry, how many x's do I have? 1. How many do I have in my total area? So how many more x's do I need? How many y's do I have in my height? How many do I have in my area? So I'm good. So I don't need any more y's, do I? So what's the width of this first section? So I'm going to go ahead and label that. Then I'm going to go to my next section. So I think 6 times what gets me to 18? And as Dacia said, that's 3. And then after I do my numbers is when I worry about my variables.
Oh, that one you put Y too, right?
Now time out. How many x's do I have in my height?
1.
How many do I have in my width? I'm good. How many y's do I have? How many y's do I have in my area?
2.
So if I have 1, but I need 2,
Equal 1 more x.
I need to add that y with my width. So what's the width of this next section? Now I went ahead and I started right out already how we're going to write our answer. Remember the total area. So this here, hold on, listen. So this here is my area. So area equals height times width. So what's my first width? And my second width? And we're going to box that portion there.
I'm getting points, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said I'm getting points for answer.
You're doing a good job. Do you feel like it's clicking?
I mean, I got it now. The first one was just
Like, what are we doing? What is this? All right, last one.
Easy.
Huh? Yeah, right, yeah. Check it, yeah. Now, when have I ever finished notes with an easy problem? Since August, when have I ever said, we're going to finish with the easiest one? Never, never, never. But it's not hard, you guys.
no, it doesn't.
It's the same thing that you just did on example number 3, except for I threw some more variables at you. It's the same concept. It's the same steps. Nothing else has changed, except for I gave you a few more variables in there. All right. Raise your hand if you can tell me what information I'm given right now. I know that Alex knows, and I know that Daisha knows what's going on. I need to hear from the rest of you. So what information at this point am I given? What do I know? I know
I'm sorry, but there's no mail for you.
it's not popular today. Thank you.
Oh, you'll be popular.
You promise me Monday you're going to bring me some stuff then? Yes. I don't know the width.
Okay, the height.
I do know the height, which is what, AJ? What's my height, AJ?
9. Oh,
Yeah. So I know my height.
your area is.
Okay. Why is this not my height times my width? How do I know this is my area?
He's trying to get you.
It doesn't have those.
It doesn't have those little things. What are those little things called?
Oh,
Not commas.
what'd you call it?
I don't know. I'm asking you. No. Mr. McFarland's back there doing a big old sigh because he's like, come on, you guys. What are those things called? What don't they have? Yahoo! Parentheses. Good Lord.
Just let it, I even wrote that in my notes, and they can do the same. If no parentheses, then you're looking for areas. So when you pull that out,
That's a really good point. So Mr. McFarland said what he did here on his notes, right next here, he put a little star, and he put, because there's no parentheses, this refers to the area.
I know.
Right, you sound
Your area
good.
is.
It's trying to make my motions big because you guys are on the struggle bus. Okay, so again, if I know my height,
It's your area.
I don't know my width. Alex said this is my area. So the area of my first section is, because we keep them in order.
Third power.
Second area,
Wait, do you put a negative?
you do put that negative with it. Nice job.
Oh.
Do I need to get you some glasses? Okay. So I am trying to find the what again?
No, wait.
Okay. So I'm going to take
Ooh, I think
my height. So 9. When I go to write my height, then I go ahead and I write it in every space or every height for each section, just so I don't forget about it. Okay, times something for my width that I don't know what it's going to be, which will get me to my total area. Okay, so here we go. 9 times what will get me to 54? Okay, now, please don't just randomly shout out answers here, because this is where it kind of gets a little confusing. So I'm going to look at my height. I have a squared And then my total area, I have A cubed. I have 2 up here, I have 3 down here. How many more A's do I need? I have-
1.
Good. So, A. Then I move to my next variable, B. I have 2 here. Down at the bottom, I have 2.
You don't need.
Okay?
But you need a C.
Good. So down here, I have a C, but I don't have any up here. So I need to add a C in there. So the width for this first section is
6 AC.
AC Slater. Is that what makes you think of Miss B? Are you old enough for AC Slater and Zach Morris? Saved by the Bell?
No.
Well, yeah, I know Saved by the Bell.
Okay.
Now here.
All right. So now we do the same steps. 9 times what gets me to negative 63?
7. Negative 7.
Okay. I have 2 A's here, 2 down here.
2 A's. You need another.
If I'm A squared and A squared, do I need any more?
Yeah, you need 1 more.
There's 2 here and 2 here.
Oh, you did. I thought you don't need it.
So now let's look at our B's. I have 2 up here, 3 down here. I need 1 more. So what's the width of the second section?
Negative 7B. And that's your answer.
Almost our answer.
That's beyond.
I have to write my answer out in the correct form.
I did.
I think you do. So how do I go up and how do I write my final answer?
You put that in the box.
Okay, I'm going to put my equal sign. So think about it. If this is my total area, area equals what?
So 6AC.
No, area equals what first?
Oh, not.
Height. What's my height?
9A to 730.
So my height,
Yeah.
what's after height?
Your 6.
Tell me my formula. Area equals height
Width.
times
Your width.
width. So how am I going to show times?
6A. Right.
Parentheses.
I'm pretty. Oh yeah, you do.
And then I'm going to put my widths in there, which is 6AC. What operation sign do I put? Negative 7B. Then what? Then what? You guys are perfect.